The morning sun had barely climbed above the frost-kissed pines when a gentle knock echoed on the heavy wooden door of an old ranch house. Samuel Harrow, a giant of a man with weathered skin and shoulders broad as the barn behind him, had just stepped outside to breathe the crisp dawn air. For years, he'd lived alone, no family, no friends, just his cattle and the silence of the valley. But that morning, his quiet world changed forever. When he turned toward the sound, he froze. Standing on his porch was a little girl. Barefoot, her face streaked with dirt, eyes wide with terror. Her torn orange dress hung loosely on her small frame. She looked up at him and whispered, trembling, "They beat my mama. She's dying." Before we go on, dear friends, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the courage of ordinary people who step up when no one else will, please like this video and subscribe. Stories like this remind us that humanity still has a soul. Samuel's heart clenched. For a moment, he stood there, speechless. Years of loneliness had hardened him, but something about the girl's trembling voice cracked that armor wide open. He knelt beside her. The faint scent of blood on her dress told him this wasn't a child's imagination. This was real. Without asking a single question, he scooped her into his arms. "Don't worry, sweetheart," he said. "I'll take you to your mama." The girl, her name was Clara, led him through the forest paths, her tiny hand pointing the way. Frost crunched under his boots as Samuel carried her across the fields, praying silently that he wasn't too late. When they reached the clearing, Samuel's eyes fell on an old shack leaning under its own weight. The door was half broken, and inside, a woman lay sprawled across the floor. Bruised, bloodied, barely breathing. Clara rushed to her side, crying out, "Mama!" The woman's eyes fluttered open just long enough to see her daughter safe. She whispered a single word, "Thank you," before slipping into unconsciousness. Samuel didn't hesitate. He lifted her gently and carried her back through the frost, Clara following close behind. At his ranch, Samuel laid the woman, whose name was Marin, on his own bed. He cleaned her wounds, fed Clara warm soup, and watched over them through sleepless nights. Days turned into weeks. Slowly, Marin's color returned. Her strength grew. Clara began to laugh again, chasing chickens in the yard, humming songs by the fireplace. The cold, lonely ranch began to feel alive. And Samuel, the man who once thought he was destined to live alone, found something stirring inside him. A feeling he hadn't known in decades. Family. But peace never lasts untested. One morning, dark silhouettes appeared on the horizon. The men who had hurt Marin. They rode up on horses, cruel smirks on their faces, demanding Samuel hand over the woman and her child. Samuel stood in the doorway, tall and unshaken, his eyes like steel. "If you want them," he said in a voice like thunder, "you'll have to come through me." The air went still. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. And when those men saw the fire in his eyes, the fire of a man ready to give everything for what's right, their confidence cracked. They turned their horses and rode away, swallowed by the horizon. The ranch was quiet again. Only the sound of Clara's laughter and Marin's soft singing filled the air. Samuel had protected them, but they had also saved him from loneliness, from despair, from forgetting what it meant to feel. One morning, as the sun rose over the frost-tipped fields, Samuel stood outside, Clara holding one of his hands, Marin the other. They had faced cruelty. They had endured pain. But together, they had found something stronger than fear. They had found family. Friends, if this story touched your heart, please give it a like, share it with someone who believes in kindness, and subscribe for more stories of courage and compassion. And tell us, if you were Samuel that morning, what would you have done? Your answer might just inspire someone else to believe in humanity again.